Hi everyone, I'm Jack the Rambling Raconteur, and I hope that you're doing well. I hope you're having a great week. Since it's Tag Tuesday, I thought it would be time for another book tag. And in this case, it's going to be the 1001 Books tag, originally created by Sandy over at Miss Reads a Lot, her first original tag. I was kindly tagged by Shelley Swearingen, so I will link both those videos in the description box below. But let's dive in, because if there are 1001 prompts in this, we're going to be here all day. Prompt 1, 1001 lists. This does not bode well. Do you follow any book lists? Not on Instagram. This could be a book prize list or something more personal like the Rory Gilmore Challenge. I don't really follow any lists, book prize lists. I don't really follow any of those. I haven't since my mid-20s. I really enjoy reading. I find great joy in connecting with other humans. I find humanity to be, we are creative, we are imaginative beings. And so there is a real joy for me and a real pleasure in being able to connect with another human experience. Even when a book is about tragedy or about the evils and the depredations of humanity, I still find something inspiring in the human spirit, in the act of creation and imagination. And I really just love connecting with that. I love becoming part of that and sort of communing with another mind through the act of reading. So I just try to experience that. Read what I enjoy, read books that will challenge me, try to read widely, don't really follow a lot of lists. Might return to that on a later prompt. Prompt 2, 1001 books. Approximately how many physical books do you own? I don't know, 3,000 maybe? There's quite a few. We're doing a library tour. We'll total them up at the end of that. We also have a lot of children's books, which is great. How many ebooks? Maybe just 2. I like textbooks for graduate level classes that I take. That would be about it. Prompt 3, 1001 books read. Approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime? Do you keep track? Well, I do keep track, and I have since 2009. So this is an example where I just keep a list of everything I read, including children's books for the first time that year. And I have a little notation where if I put a little slash or apostrophe next to it, it means it's a book I would recommend rereading or a book I would recommend to somebody else. That's really all it means. So it's a very simple binary system of ratings. In terms of how many books I've read, I think I'm up to like 1,460 or 1,430 on Goodreads. Probably more than that, but that would be a good start. But yeah, I do keep track of what I read. I have for a little over a decade now. Prompt 4, the 1001 Arabian Nights. Really, Tales from the 1001 Nights. Great. Have you read any stories from the Tales of the 1001 Nights? I have. I have not read it in its entirety. Because my understanding is some of the tales are not as edifying or enjoyable, but in terms of really enjoyable ones, I think my favorite is the sequence that involves the Fisherman and the Jinnee. Just a really cool sequence, and then there are a couple of shorter stories within there, the tale of King Yunnan and Duban the Doctor, the tale of King Sinbad and the Falcon, the tale of the Enchanted King. There's Aladdin is in here, Sinbad the Sailor. There's a lot of great stories and tales from here. But I will add, if you enjoy the Tales from the 1001 Nights, I highly recommend also checking out Chimera by John Barth. One of the stories deals with Shahrazad's sister, Dunyazad. So that's kind of cool. Prompt 5, 1001 flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? I enjoy lots of different foods. So I don't know that my food taste might be almost as eclectic as my reading taste, but I really try to experience as many different foods as I can. I'm excited for this winter break because we've started a new annual tradition of a seafood boil, a Cajun seafood boil for New Year's. So I'm excited to do that again. But I usually barbecue a lot here. Growing up in southwestern U.S., I've enjoyed a lot of Mexican food, but also food from the Yucatan or Oaxaca. There's very different flavors there, so I enjoy food. Prompt 6, 1001 pages. Have you read a book over 1001 pages? I've read a few. I've read a number. Is there one you recommend worth the time, and what is the longest book you've read? So longest book I've read in terms of nonfiction would be this monstrosity, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon. If we have to restrict it to a single volume book, and I do recommend that. It's long. Make sure you get an edition that has the footnotes because Gibbon can be very, very cutting and funny in the footnotes. But I've read that, I enjoy it, and I really do think The Decline and Fall, yes, it's multiple volumes, but it really is one book. But if we had to go with a single volume, I think the longest single volume nonfiction I've read, it would be Master of the Senate, which is the third volume in the Years of Lyndon Johnson series by Robert Caro. This is also great, although I would say, you want to start with The Path to Power, what it illuminates about LBJ, what it illuminates about U.S. politics, what it illuminates about the many issues that existed during Johnson's time and continue to exist in the U.S. It's definitely worth reading. In terms of fiction, the longest sequence of books I've read would be In Search of Lost Time, which I do regard those as one novel, but those, at least I can understand why people would regard those as separate novels that are part of one long sequence. If it gets to one single volume, it would be Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I would recommend this as well. I read it by reading about 100 pages a week across about 3 months. And that was enjoyable. Two others I would recommend. Bleak House from Dickens. I think it's his best novel. And another one, I don't see this one mentioned too frequently. The Man Without Qualities. It's technically an unfinished novel by Robert Musil, but it's a really, really fascinating book. And it's a modernist novel, but it is a really fascinating exploration. And it's one that, even though it's unfinished, the language, the ideas it's exploring, the sense of consciousness and memory that it probes, it doesn't need to be finished, just as our brains and our learning are never finished. There you go. There's a metaphor. Prompt 7, 1001 Buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list? What is one thing on it? I don't really have a bucket list, but I really enjoy hitting the national parks. It's something my wife and I really enjoy. It's something we cherish doing with our daughters. So I've got my Sequoia National Park t-shirt on. And we try to hit at least one new one each year. This year it was Canyonlands and Yosemite. And so we hit Canyonlands in March and Yosemite over the summer. Those were both really, really enjoyable experiences. And I don't know what the next year will hold, but I'm certainly excited. And our girls are great hikers too, so that's been fun to just be active with them. Prompt 8, 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number? I make my own luck because fortune favors the bold, but if I had to pick one, it would either be E or I. Prompt 9, 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author and or genre? It's hard for me to pick a favorite author. I really genuinely enjoy most of what I read, so it's very hard for me to say, this is my one favorite author. There are authors I read when I was a younger adult and that I've returned to since then, and that I really enjoy their works, and I enjoy different aspects of their writing or the way that I get to interact with the text and sort of my memory and the value that exists, just from my memory of reading it. But there are way too many to name. In terms of a favorite genre, it's probably crime fiction. Probably. Prompt 10, 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? I still do some running, and I do a fair amount of hiking. Again, that's something I love. But I also really enjoy ultimate frisbee. I used to always use that as the off-season workout for any kids who weren't doing basketball, wrestling, or soccer, but were on my cross-country and track teams when I was coaching. We would meet twice a week and play ultimate frisbee. And that was just a huge amount of fun. I started playing in college, and I'm teaching our daughters how to throw the frisbee, and our older daughter can actually throw the backhand frisbee pretty well and a pretty good distance. It gets a nice spin to it, so very fun. Prompt 11, 1001 book clubs. Should Sandy start a 1001 book club with a book each month? You can. I will caution, though. The first reason I'll caution is if we're reading one book a month, it'd be about 83 years, I think, to read all the books on the list. Second thing I would caution is even if we spot 100 books, that we've all read 100 books, it'd still take about 75 years to complete. And I went through the list. I had some spare time while doing some chores and stuff. I went through the list, and I had read 237, I think, of them, so almost a quarter. And I don't know that I would recommend even half of the 237 to be read. So it would take me 64 years to complete this list. I'm not going to. I find this list in particular to be worthy of skepticism because it has To Have and Have Not by Ernest Hemingway on one of the versions. And that's a terrible novel. There are a few others that I just cannot believe were on the list, frankly. So I'm just skeptical of lists in general. I find often they're dominated by the US or the 20th century. So, but again, have at it. Read what you enjoy. I'm reading what I enjoy. We should all be reading what we enjoy. Reading should be a pleasurable activity, and I love connecting. Prompt 12, 1001 friends. Who do you tag? A lot of people have been tagged on this, so I'm not sure who hasn't been tagged. And I don't like to do this, but this is absolutely going to be one of those. If you haven't done this yet and are interested, or you don't even have a booktube channel, but you're interested and think this could be your gateway, by all means, please jump into this prompt. Again, I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. If you have really long books that you think are worth reading, please let me know. I'm always willing to, take the time to hit those. I do like to read them often at the pace at which I read Les Miserables and take a month or 2 months to read the book. I have no issue with that. I can dip in and out of it. But by all means, please let me know. And again, I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you.